soon, another Sunday has rolled by. And this Sunday is not only the last Sunday in the month of April, but the very last day in the month of April. We thank God who has brought us thus far, and we ask for his blessings and guidance as we usher in the new month of May. I'm sure that workers the world over are excited because the 1st of May every year has been set aside as May Day or Workers' Day to celebrate workers for their hard work, dedication to duty, and for their contributions to the development of the country. It is indeed a beautiful Sunday, and Christians were in various churches today to pray and appreciate God for the life he has given them. For most Christians, especially the Catholics, today is the Good Shepherd Sunday, and clerics have reminded all leaders at all levels to be good shepherds to the flocks that have been entrusted into their care. Our package tonight on Sunday Rendezvous is laced with stories making the rounds, people and events, and other interesting stories that will help you relax as we usher in a new week and a new month. Good evening, and I'm glad you could join us. Do not forget that you can watch us live on our YouTube channel at NTA Enugu. A new president, Ohaneze Ndigbo General Dr. Emmanuel Imuanyanwu, has been inaugurated as he promises to defend the Igbo cause and improve the education, agriculture, health, as well as the power sector of the Southeast Zone. Chika Ugu reports that the official inauguration attracted governors and their deputies from the Southeast Zone. Chika Ugu reports.
Not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct.
Having taken the oath of office, the new President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, who expressed worry over the economic and social condition of the Southeast Zone, noted that he has set up a committee to revive industries and establish new ones in the eastern region. Education, agriculture, electricity, health, and security are some sectors he identified to be in their need of attention in the zone. He therefore promised to invest in these sectors to boost the economy of the country. He further appealed to the President of Nigeria to release Nnamdi Kanu from detention in order to promote peace and unity.
I want to assure you that this job I'm going to rise with the challenge. It's going to be a collective responsibility. I'm going to work with everybody, and I can be rest assured that we are not going to fail.
Some politicians in attendance, including the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, Southeast governors and deputies, as well as the Enugu State Governor-elect, and some members of the Apex Socio-Cultural Group, believe that the new president will promote peace and unity in the zone and country at large.
And this is what we need at this point in time. We need a man who has lived, who has seen all. William has been associated with our history for a long time. Before the war, through the war, after the war, till date. So he's one of the icons we've had in this part of Nigeria, and he has continued to show interest in the matters that concern Igbo people.
They have today presented him to Imo, and the Imo and several state governors endorsing. There must be a process. Imo State is their duty to fill the vacancy.
Dr. Emmanuel Iwanyanwu was elected and inaugurated to replace the late Ohaneze Ndigbo president, Professor George Obiozo, who died recently. In Enugu, Chika Ugu, NTA News.
The quest for a united and peaceful Nigeria can only become a reality when Nigerians take advantage of the nation's diversity by promoting ethnic and religious tolerance. This was the consensus of speakers at the third edition of a socio-economic forum organized by Nzuko Umunna in Enugu State. Again, Chika Ugu reports that the theme of the forum is Handshake across Nigeria.
Nigeria, no doubt, is endowed with rich human and natural resources, making it a nation with the largest economy in Africa. Over the years, the nation has grappled with several challenges occasioned by intertribal and religious differences, hence this gathering by Nzuko Umunna, to identify causes of tribal and religious crises and the devastating effects on the nation.
The challenge we have had in this country over and over is failure to build bridges. Failure to ensure that everyone is fairly treated in sharing of what is available in this country. What Mzuka Umuna is doing is to draw us to something very important that we have failed as a nation for a long time.
Speaking on the topic, building bridges for a new Nigeria, the keynote speaker identified creating government policies that will encourage human capital development, improve literacy level, community development, deploy conflict resolution, among others, as some major criteria to build the nation.
Promoting cooperation, peace, and good neighborliness between Igbos and other ethnic groups in Nigeria through your handshake programs. Handshake across the Niger, handshake across Nigeria. You have done a lot to bring about this your dream.
Reviewing the book Nzuko Umunna Chronicles with 193 pages, the outgoing president encouraged Igbos to resolve conflicts through handshakes as depicted in the book.
This book is a bumper harvest of chronicle of events and offerings that depicts in bold relief a factual and legendary fortitude, courage, skill, and uncanny wisdom, generally deployed by Igbo in resolving conflicts and building relationships through the instrumentality of a handshake.
The book was unveiled by the Labour Party presidential candidate alongside the Enugu State Governor, the Enugu State Governor-elect, Deputy Governor Imo State, and other dignitaries. Senator Shehu Sani, Peter Obi, and all the dignitaries believe that the much desired new Nigeria is achievable when the nation upholds justice, equity, and fairness. The third series of the Socio-Economic Forum, titled Handshake Across Nigeria, also featured the official inauguration of the Nzuko Umunna New Exco, with Professor Chinedu Nebo as the president. Special recognition awards were presented to some notable Igbo friends from other tribes. A communique presented by the group called for the release of Nnamdi Kanu and also called for equity and fairness, as well as economic integration of the Southeast. In Enugu, Chika Ugwu, NTA News.
The Enugu State Governor-elect Dr. Peter Mba has re-emphasized his drive to put his campaign manifesto into action to make Enugu State a choice destination for investment and tourism. He made this known while inaugurating the Transition Committee at the Old Government Lodge in Enugu. Chegonu Aro completes the report.
It was a who-is-who event as dignitaries and party loyalists gathered to witness the maiden meeting and inauguration of a 64-man crack team that made up the May 29 inauguration committee of the Enugu State Governor-elect Peter Ndubisimba and his deputy Ifeanyi Chukwu Osai. Inaugurating the transition committee, Peter Mba charged them to bring out their best potentials and expertise in charting a roadmap that will be achieved in the first 4 years of his administration. He reminded them that Enugu has always played a major role in the development trajectory of Nigeria.
And it's now behoves on us to find creative alternative financing model to be able to optimally intervene in our critical areas of need. I hereby inaugurate the Transition Committee.
Chairman of the Transition Committee, Ike Chioke, hinted on critical areas the incoming administration should tackle, like water, electricity, and waste disposal, which he said are basic steps to take in order to get back to the coal city of its standards.
And I believe that, representing members of the Transition Committee here, that we are honored and grateful that you've chosen us, and we believe we'll be equal to the task of transforming your manifesto into tangible, actionable, and measurable indicators built on a framework that has the policy instruments to enable you to achieve it.
In a virtual keynote speech, a renowned political and environmental analyst, Professor Patu Tomi, said there is a remarkable difference between the political leaders of the 60s and those of now, and urged the incoming administration under Pitamba to x-ray the indices of differential governance and do the needful. Speaker after speaker harped on the urgency of developmental governance in Enugu and urged the incoming administration to hit the ground running. In Enugu, Chiegono Aro, NTA News.
It was all time for reading and reviews of works, folk music performances, and creative writing dialogue of the Association of Nigerian Authors, who gathered for this month's Enugu special reading session. Chimaroke Ugo reports that this month's edition witnessed the inauguration of Nsukka Unit of Association of Nigerian Authors, Enugu.
Creators of fiction described as people who, like philosophical musicians, control thoughts, wittingly or unwittingly shape local and international polities and policies. For the appreciation and review of their works, the body of authors gather monthly to host any prominent member of the association. This month's edition was hosted by Justice George Nnamani, who they took time to review and appreciate some of his fictional pieces, including The Big Pen from African Writings.
Today, we are being hosted by Justice G.C. Nnamani, who is a very proficient writer and one of the greatest writers of modern time in Nigeria. So he has done a lot of work in regards to legal, creative literature in the legal areas that has to do with crime, fiction, and law fictions and so on and so forth.
Some of the authors took turn to read out and appreciate portions of the fictions written by George Nnamani.
At 40 minutes to the flight of ETA, Joda took his eyes off his wristwatch and suddenly sprang to his feet, whisking out of devil nowhere a gun.
Will I be justice? Just like GC, hear what she said to me. Don't you know, my child?
George Nnamani said his writings are inspired by the suffering of young lawyers and intend to correct the ills in the society through his writing.
The inspiration comes, I begin to write, and the things I see, the things I feel, the things I do, the things I hear begin to influence me. And because I practiced law for 20 years, it's only natural that law will creep into my writing because it is there, it is subconscious.
The high point of the section was the inauguration of Nsukka Unit of Association of Nigerian Authors, Enugu. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
We'll take a break here. Sunday Rendezvous. We'll be right back. This day. Welcome back. The 1st of May every year is set aside as May Day or Workers' Day to celebrate the contributions of workers to nation building. In this report, our correspondent takes a look at the peculiarity of this year's celebration.
The popular saying that there is dignity in labor cannot be better expressed on any other day than May 1st, which is known worldwide as the Workers' Day.
Workers are the policy implementers. In fact, they are the fulcrum of governance. When you talk about service delivery in the system, it's the workers that drive the system. So every year, it is not just in Nigeria, it's a global day.
Workers' Day to some people is just another holiday, but in reality, it is a day to celebrate the engine room and real drivers of all civilization and development of human existence.
It is a day mapped out for us to show dignity in labor, where you work to earn a living, not by doing odd things. So they are celebrated as a way of reminding them that there is decency in whatever you do that the law supports to earn your living.
And what's the inspiration behind the theme of this year's Workers' Day?
The topic is the workers' right and socio-economic justice. So when we talk about workers' rights, one of the rights we talk about here is their wages, what they earn. So when you fail to pay the workers well, you are denying them their rights.
As Nigerians will be stepping into a new era of leadership, what then are the expectations of the average Nigerian worker?
It's need for us to change the way we handle workers' welfare. If some certain things cannot be done in cash, it can be done in kind. Some workers just need a conducive environment to work, being able to go to work secured, maybe a bus to convey them to work and to and fro, a convenience accommodation, be able to afford a convenience accommodation. How many workers are able to enjoy the so-called National Housing Fund during their work life?
The dignity in labor is embedded in established workers' rights that a worker deserves his wage. So, as the Nigerian worker celebrates this year, our prayer is for better working condition and general well-being of the Nigerian worker.
Indeed, there is dignity in labor, and a worker deserves his wages. Music is said to be food for the soul, and it is defined as the art of arranging sound to create some combination of form, harmony, melody, rhythm, or otherwise expressive content. In this report, our correspondent takes a look at the music of yesterdays and today, especially high life, also looking at its relevance globally.
In the southeastern Nigeria, there are different genres of music that are highly visible during events, from the ogene to the egwu mwada and masquerading. But above all is the high life music. Its acceptance cuts across board, as it is a must at every occasion due to the impacts of legends like Osito Sadebe, Mike Ejeagha, Oliver De Coque, and the rest. With the younger ones like spiritual still on the beat, what exactly is the state of high life music in the East?
I was inspired by Osadebe, Sawario. Those are the real Oliver De Coque. Those are the high life people that inspired me and made me know that high life can actually take you to places. I'm a fan of high life, so each time I want to have soothing time, good music, I come to this place because I know they play good high life.
And for some high life enthusiasts, there are definitely some differences between high life music of today and that of yesteryears.
The older musicians who are the originators of this, most of the beats here, these young ones now, they mostly copy. They just play the songs of these older musicians. So the creativity is lower, but the same sound, the vibrancy is high. The same beat. In fact, I think the equipments are getting sharper. So, equipment-wise, music-wise, sound-wise, it's getting better. But creativity-wise, I think they're just repeating what the old men did.
However, can high life music compete globally?
Chigama shemela no mucho, Bagama confession sing. Padale shemela mucho, Prince of Faith is in. Padale shemela mucho,
Of course, it's already competing globally. You know why? You know why? Because everybody now is listening to High Life. They want to know what it sounds like, what it feels like to listen to High Life, you know. Even the international artists, they are featuring High Life artists, African, Nigerian, Ghana, African artists.
From all indications,
it was indeed a celebration of a life well lived by the late Elder Ozemena as his family members and friends and relatives gathered at his compound, Amaja, Onoli as a village, Uguleshi community, in Ogu local government area of Enugu State to pay him their last respects. The deceased was the father of the Enugu State governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Pastor Donatus Ozemena. Okechukwu Agubama captured the sights and sounds of the burial ceremony for Sunday Rendezvous.
It was a sad moment for Ozemena's family as friends, well-wishers, ministers of the gospel, community members, and political stalwarts from within and outside Enugu State were on hand to commiserate with their own, a gubernatorial candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in the just concluded elections, Pastor Donatus Ozemena. In a sermon titled, "Death is an Appointment," Reverend Emmanuel Ede urged Christians to emulate the Christ kind of life on earth so as to win more souls for him. He described late Chief Okeke as a man that has God in mind, as he was able to raise a minister of God.
That it is important, since you heard from me, that sin is the result or consequence of man's disobedience against his creator. You need to start asking yourself now, what is my relationship with my creator?
Service over, the body of late Sunday Ozemena was lowered alongside the door-to-door rituals. Children, friends, in-laws, and grandchildren say he was a man of humility.
He charged me to put Enugu State first, and that led to me getting into politics for the second time to make sure that we unite the people of Enugu State. So as far as that is concerned, I'm glad he's finally laid to rest. But at the same time, it is a painful exit because my dad was such a great dad, maybe the greatest dad on earth.
My dad is a very nice man, a caring father, peacemaker. He's so kind. In short, I don't even know how to describe it. He calls me several person names, like Naya, a wife to him. He called me. Nobody knows the minds of God. As in, he calls me Mama Ejima because I gave birth to twins.
I miss Daddy a lot, several ways. I missed him a lot. I know Daddy, especially the names. Daddy gave us a very petty, special name, especially me, being the first daughter-in-law of 4 so far, or 3. Daddy calls me Abata as Onoma Sowa Grandma, means that each time I'm home, that he eats everything he likes.
Sonny boy is a great man. I think since I came into the family, he welcomed me warmly. He took me as a son.
For ADC came here to commiserate with our governorship candidate in the last concluded election, and we are here as a family. We are here to say that what concerns him concerns us, what affects him affects us. It's not just him that lost their dad, it is ADC family as a whole that lost his father.
Late Sunday Okeke Ozemena was born 77 years ago, left to mourn him his 6 children and host of other relatives.
May his soul rest in peace. Amen. And this is where we'll call it a day on this week's edition of Sunday Rendezvous. We thank you so much for being a part of it. Good night and God
With heavy hearts but with gratitude to God Almighty for a life well spent, the family of Chief Edwin